I'll now call the 2017 annual meeting is now called to order. In addition to those who have joined us here at the NAV Center in Cornwall, I welcome those who have taken the time to watch this annual meeting by webcast. Kathy Henderson, Curling Canada's CEO, will now read the notice of meeting, proof of mailing, as well as the report on credentials of the delegates and meeting quorum.
Thanks, Peter. On May 3rd, 2017, a notice of meeting for the 2017 National Curling Congress and annual meeting was emailed to the Board of Governors, Member Association Presidents, Member Association Executive Directors, affiliate organizations, national staff, Nicole Mulligan, Senior Program Officer with Sport Canada, Joe Waddy of Collinsborough, and Parliamentarian Steve Indig. I will now do a roll call of voting delegates, confirming a quorum for this meeting. Please respond with "here" when I say your name. Newfoundland and Labrador, Harold Walters.
Here.
Nova Scotia, Harry Damon.
Here.
New Brunswick, David Burpee.
Here.
Prince Edward Island, Sandy Matheson.
Here.
Quebec, Jean Lemaire.
Here.
Ontario, Rick Maraska.
Here.
Northern Ontario, Mike Shefsky.
Here.
Manitoba, Debbie Schween.
Here.
Saskatchewan, Mitch Minkin.
Here.
Alberta, Brenda Asmussen.
Here.
British Columbia, Paul Addison.
Here.
Northwest Territories, Steve Moss.
Here.
Yukon, Ellen Johnson.
Here.
Nunavut, Bruce Morgan.
Here.
I can confirm that there are 14 votes accounted for at this meeting. Therefore, a simple majority is 8 votes.
Our next item is the election of the governors to Curling Canada's board. The Governance Committee is in charge of handling the election process, so Governor Maureen Miller, chair of that committee, will now assume the chair for the election.
Thank you, Peter. So we'll proceed with the election for positions on the Curling Canada Board of Governors. Each position is a 4-year term. There have been 2 nominations received for these positions. Brad Gibb had been nominated by the Alberta Curling Federation, and George Cook, who's been nominated by the Ontario Curling Association. So at this time, I'll ask if there are any nominations from the floor. I will ask 3 times, giving everybody an opportunity, and then we'll look for a motion to cease nominations. So are there any further nominations from the floor? Are there any further nominations from the floor? Are there any further nominations from the floor? I would look for a motion to cease nominations.
Rick Maraska, Ontario.
Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to move into the election. There are 2 people running, there are 2 positions, and 4-year term. So the ballots will be distributed. We've asked Steve Indig and Hugh Avery to be the scrutineers for this election. So I'd ask you guys to come forward and help give out the ballots, please. So just to be clear, the ballots will have a yes/no on them. You will say yes or no behind the candidate. You're going to write it in, yes or no behind the candidate. If you do not place anything behind that candidate's name, that ballot will be considered an abstention. There are 14 ballots to be cast, 1 by each member association.
Point of order.
Is
there a motion that needs to be made that we need to vote on?
No. He's thinking about the articles. No. Oh, cease nominations, sorry.
David? Did you mean to cease nominations?
We had a motion, I didn't ask. He's right, okay. So I'm asked for a show of hands on the cease nomination motion.
Paddles.
Paddles,
Use your paddles, please.
Okay. Okay, carried. My apologies. So while we're waiting for the scrutineers to count the votes, maybe Glenn would like to sing.
While they're doing that, maybe I'll talk a little bit about our lost chain of office. So this has been lost for a couple of years, but it has now been found due to the help of Karen. So I would recommend that every member association, at some point as my neck gets sore, I will put it down on the table, but please come up and look at it because each member association has a pin, and those pins are really unique. I have never seen them. Alberta, for example, is a boot, cowboy boot, and things like that. So there's very unique pins on here. So I would definitely recommend everybody take a look at it, maybe take a picture to take back to your member association. This will be passed on to RESB. It will be held in the Curling Canada office so it doesn't get lost anymore. And then it will be moved from chair to chair going forward.
The Manitoba Curling Association pin, for example, is one that I've never seen, and I thought I had seen. I don't have them all in my collection, but I thought I'd seen them all. But this is one that I've never seen. That suggests to me it's not in the collection of people like Keith Forbes and Stan Olsen either. So because I've seen their association pins collection. So have a look at your association pin on this thing.
Just, Peter, a little history on that for the MAs that are present and our guests. That chain of office was commissioned by the late Tom Fisher when he was president of the Canadian Curling Association. So there's a lot of history to it. There is a lot of pins there that you should really take a look at, but that's the history behind it. And we found it in the back warehouse, and it came out, and we've updated it and passed it on.
Okay, so we have the results of the election, and I am pleased to announce that there are 2 new governors to the Curling Canada Board, George Cook and Brad Gibb. So I know Brad is unable to be with us today, but George is here. George, I'd like to ask you to come forward and receive your crest and maybe say a few words.
Congratulations. Welcome.
Thank you.
I thought I'd dodge this opportunity on Thursday evening by being in Kingston, but I'll simply be very brief and to the point. I'm quite honored to have the chance to continue to be involved in the community of curling through this particular means. When I retired 4 years ago from the Dominion, I actually thought that I had left some of the organizational aspects of curling behind me. I found, to the contrary, in the immediate time thereafter in Ontario. I thought I'd left them behind me one more time, and when this opportunity came up, it was one that I really didn't want to walk away from. So you've got a very committed new governor, and I very much look forward to serving and fulfilling this role. I can tell you that after having attended last evening, that the task is more daunting perhaps than I thought it was. When I listened to the individuals speak and talk to the people in the room, there's some pretty big shoes to fill, but we'll give it our best. So thanks very much for the vote of support.
So at this time, that brings our election process to a close. I would look for a motion to destroy the ballots.
Paul, Curl BC.
Do I need a seconder?
Seconded.
Do I need a seconder? Yes. Sorry.
Mitch
Okay,
Minkin,
Jean.
Saskatchewan.
Okay. In favor? Yellow or blue? Thank you. Okay, carried. We're done.
Thank you, Maureen, and congratulations, George, and look forward to working with you over the next year. As we do each year at the annual meeting, we'll ask you to please rise as we observe a moment of silence for the deceased members of our curling fraternity. Thank you. Are there any other items we would like to add to the agenda? Can I get a mover and a seconder to approve of the what I'll call the amended agenda, which is moving our motion 2 to the first slot and motion 1 to the second slot?
So moved. Northwest Territories.
Thank you, Steve. Seconded, John Lemaire. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, we will move on to the approval of the minutes. That we have 3 meetings to deal with at this time. Copies of the minutes were included in the meeting information link. First, the minutes for the June 18th, 2016 annual general meeting. Are there any errors or omissions? Can I have a mover and a seconder to approve the minutes for June 18th, 2016 annual general meeting?
Ellen, Yukon Curling.
Second, Manitoba.
Thank you. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Next are the minutes for the continuation of the 2016 annual general meeting held on September 30th, 2016. Are there any errors or omissions? Can I have a mover and a seconder to approve the minutes of September 30th, 2016 continuation of the annual general meeting? Paul Addison from BC, Curl BC. Seconder? Rick Maraska from Curl On. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Lastly are the minutes of our special meeting held on May 30th, 2017. Are there any errors or omissions? Can I have a mover and a seconder to approve the minutes of the May 30th, 2017 special meeting?
So moved.
Mitch and Harry, thank you. Anyone All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Is there any business arising from these minutes? For the information of the members, correspondence is dealt with on a daily basis through our national office in Ottawa. I will now present my interim report. That's me, Karen?
This is your
Okay.
chair's report.
Okay. As my year comes to an end, I'd like to thank my fellow governors, all the members association presidents and their staff, our CEO, Kathy Henderson, and the Curling Canada staff for making this year full of memories. But also to all the volunteers, to our stakeholders, to the curling fans across this great nation. You are curling in Canada, and you are the ones who make those memories last. Memories of all the hard work that went into the bylaw changes from the Constitution Review Committee over the last 2 years, the work of the Finance and Audit Committee did in restructuring our reporting into one set of financials for all of Curling Canada, to the Event Model Review Committee that has helped to move Curling Canada into a better direction and make our events great again. The start of the Curling Canada Sustainability Committee and the movement to reduce the cable bills to our local curling centers. Finally, to the Hall of Fame Committee with the wonderful number of nominations for the Volunteer of the Year and the induction into the Curling Canada Hall of Fame for the Briar Bear, Reg, and Brian Cassidy, both that were inducted in St. John's, and of course our past chair, Hugh Avery, who was inducted last night. Those memories will stay with me for many years. On a personal note, I will always remember the year we were perfect. Perfect in the women's, perfect in the men's World Championship. And I got to present those medals to Team Homan and to Team Gushue. I wish all of you could have been there in Beijing and in Edmonton to feel the pride for Canada. We should never forget the work that goes into being a world champ. From the hard work of the team to the hard work of our team at Curling Canada that supports them and allows them to be able to perform at the highest level. It's what makes us successful. To Kathy Henderson and all the wonderful staff of Curling Canada, thank you for your dedication to the sport of curling and for your patience as we turn the ship to start sailing with the wind at our back. Change is not easy, but it's necessary. And if you want to keep Curling Canada energized and focused on the new direction in our sport and in all sports, change is necessary. I was honored to be the chair of Curling Canada, and I hope Curling Canada is in a better place than it was 12 months ago. While our future starts now, it looks very bright. Thank you. Each of the governors prepared a report that was included in the link for this meeting. I hope you took the time to read those reports. It really explains the hard work that each governor does throughout the year. We will now proceed to the motions received from the 2017 annual meeting. Kathy Henderson, the Curling Canada CEO, will read each motion, and then the vote will be held. Please direct your attention to the screen. Yeah.
First motion is Articles of Incorporation of Curling Canada. Be it resolved that, subsequent to the approval of new Curling Canada bylaws in a special meeting of the members, May 30th, 2017, the Articles of Incorporation of Curling Canada be amended to align the articles with the bylaws by removing the officer member category and all references thereto, by amending the stated minimum number of governors from 10 to 8, and by increasing the stated maximum number of governors from 10 to 12.
Can I have a mover and a seconder for that motion? Moved by Harold, seconded by Paul.
Do I need all in favor?
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstaining? Carried.
Just, that's loud, sorry. Just a point of order, just, Karen, write down that it was a unanimous vote, because these motions require 2/3. Okay.
Okay. Motion number 2, number of board members. Be it resolved that, based upon the recommendation of the Constitution Review Committee in consultation with legal counsel, the number of governors comprising the Board of Governors be set at 10.
Can I have a mover or a seconder? Debbie and Mike. Any discussion? Call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Abstaining? Carried.
Motion number 3, endorsement of helmet recommendation and future investigation. Be it resolved that, based upon the unanimous suggestion of the Curling Canada and Operations Advisory Council, the member associations endorse the immediate release of a Curling Canada statement to encourage Canadian curling clubs and facilities to acknowledge a concern about head injuries and concussion, and urging clubs and facilities to implement helmet use initiatives in the beginner and novice curling programs, and that helmets are strongly suggested for all in the U12 category, age category. And that, based upon the preliminary findings of an advisory council committee presented and discussed during the 2017 National Curling Congress, the member associations endorse a thorough investigation of the development of a Curling Canada policy in regard to the wearing of CSA-approved headgear for ice sports by U12 and beginning and novice curlers, and that Curling Canada also investigate the potential for a national insurance program for curlers, and furthermore that the timeline for the required investigations, and if deemed appropriate for the introduction of said policy to be developed in consultation with the member associations and reported at the 2018 Curling Canada annual meeting or earlier.
Can I have a mover and a seconder? David Burp and Steve, thank you. Any discussion?
Could I, the second line there, it says approved headgear or ice sports. It must be 4.
It's 4. Yeah.
If that could be a friendly amendment.
Okay. Anybody have any issue with the friendly amendment? Okay. So I'll call for the question. All in favor? Opposed? Abstaining? Carried.
Motion number 4, affiliate organization. Be it resolved that at the 2017 annual general meeting, the Canadian branch of the RCCC, the Royal Caledonian Curling Club, be approved as an affiliate organization of Curling Canada.
Mover and a seconder?
So moved.
Okay, John Lemaire, seconder? Harry? Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstained? Carried. Having now addressed the motions and other business in this portion of the agenda, I call for a motion to recess this AGM until it can be reconvened by conference call on September 30th, 2017. At that time, we will deal with the remaining items on the agenda, including the approval of the audited statements. May I have a motion to recess the AGM until September 30th, 2017? Rick and Ellen, all in favor? Opposed? Thank you very much. Carried. Everyone travel safely, and thank you for working as one team.